My next guest now is well acquainted with factional infighting and turmoil within the New South Wales Liberal Party, having been appointed as a special administrator last year to help the party get back on track. So with the leadership contest playing out tomorrow, federally of course, and plenty of factional tensions on display, it's timely to get some thoughts from former Howard Government Minister, former Victorian Liberal Party President, I might add, and former boss to Peta Credlin, Richard Alston. I might even say also a Communications Minister. I'll ask you about the ABC and their election coverage in a moment. Just at a top level, as someone who was a warrior for the Howard Government for so long, your reaction to the thumping the Libs got in the election?
Look, I think it's a bit misleading. We went into the election in front in the polls. Mm-hmm. Some people would say Trump comes along, everyone goes for the doona and they don't want to change, you know. We'll stick with the devil we know. That's part of the answer, but fundamentally it was a very poor campaign. Mm-hmm. Clearly they hadn't done their homework on policy, which should have been locked away months beforehand.
Yep.
And here they were, 2 days out, they did defence, 3 days out, they did education. How can you expect anyone to take you seriously? So I think we should not see this as a complete devastation. It's obviously a setback because of the margin, but most people thought that the Albanese government didn't deserve to be returned.
That's true.
So can you imagine them suddenly doing all the right things? No. So I think next time around will be a very good opportunity for us if we can get our act together.
Peter Costello was critical because he said there was just no economic agenda. Oh. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, you've got to have a couple of big policies. You've got to understand economics. You can't just sort of blow the budget out and spend endlessly. It all comes back to haunt you. So yeah, I think economics is key. If you don't understand economics, then you're probably not going to be a winner.
What about this whole fight that inevitably happens, you know, they were too far to the left, the Libs, too not far enough to the right. If you look around at all the state oppositions, every time we've had a left-wing agenda, we've tried to cuddle up to Labor, we're almost in permanent opposition.
Yeah.
What do you make of this carry-on at the moment?
It's a very lazy media line. Any fool can write an article about someone wants to go left, some don't. That's complete nonsense. I mean, the reality is people want good policy. Mm-hmm. It's not a left or right thing. Some people can deliver it. I mean, there are Labor premiers who can deliver it. So I just don't waste my time thinking in terms of left and right anymore.
What about, you know, the insights you've had now in your time as a steward of the New South Wales Liberal Party? I know you've had a history in the Victorian Liberal Party. What are you finding in the statistics in New South Wales? What has shocked you?
Well, it's hard to believe actually, because there are 608 people who have been refused membership of the party. There have been 4,500 people who have let their membership lapse in the last few years. No new branches have been created since 2016. It's just appalling, and it's because the factions collude. Factions are okay. You're always going to have left and right, progressives, moderates, conservatives, whatever. As Howard said, broad church. But when they get together and exclude people, you know, Mother Teresa turns up and says she's available. I'd say, sorry, you're not in the right faction.
And that's so people at home can follow. That's because those there have already carved up the spoils.
Yes.
And even though they hate each other factionally,
yes,
they know exactly where they are. They've got the position to suit themselves. They don't want talent. They don't want new numbers to come in. They don't want people to come in that they can't control.
They take it in turns, actually. That's what happens, you know. You're not in my faction, but if you do the right thing, we'll put you on the list. Someone complained to us, you know, she was opposed to factions, but she said, it's outrageous because I was next on the list. So it's not about talent at all. It's about payoffs and trading. And it's very unhealthy. It's you can't possibly say that New South Wales can get back into sensible government. I mean, the catalyst was the local government fiasco when almost 150 candidates weren't selected, but that was the last straw. This has been around for years in New South Wales. That's why the federal executive unanimously said on 2 occasions, we must have intervention. And they said to us, you must fix the problem. And that involves writing a new constitution, and we're in the process of doing that right now.
And is that how you fix it? You have a new constitution. Surely you've got to have a clean out across the board of factional warlords.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't focus on the warlords. I'd focus on giving ordinary members access rights. So instead of being
more say.
Yes, instead of being knocked back by the branch president, who's in on the deal, the fix, you allow the application to go through. And then if people have a genuine objection, they can lodge that with a panel. So that's a much more sensible way of opening the party up. Clearly people want to join the party, but they're not going to until reform's been put in place.
Well, it'll be something I know we're going to talk about a lot, Richard, but if you can get it right in New South Wales, maybe other states will follow.
I don't think other states need it fundamentally. They've got to get things right.
You think this is the worst?
But they don't need reform in the way that New South Wales needs. New South Wales is rotten on the inside. I wouldn't say that about any other state.
Wow.
I mean, WA, I've only got a handful. It's going to be very difficult to make a comeback there. South Australia is just as bad, I think. But, you're up against some competent people. But New South Wales is far and away the biggest problem, and it's the biggest state.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Wow.
We'll do our best.
Thank you, Richard. Oh, just a quick one, ABC.
Yeah.
Bias, reform and a review.
I thought Kim Williams was going to do something serious about this, but I don't see any sign of it, really. I mean, I knew him quite well. I think he's capable of being sensible about these things, but it's just too hard. If he tries to do something like this, they can all leak on him. The staff-appointed director goes mad, So I'm never...
And they just keep losing audience share.
Yeah, the only way you do it is in terms of the money. You have to attach conditions to the money they get.
Yeah.
And they have to then be forced to fix themselves. The trouble is they're a monopoly, you see, and monopolies get fat and lazy. They don't need to reform, they don't need to cut, they don't need to win, they don't need to raise money. How good's that? Why would you want to change?
Well, Sky News would love to get $1 billion every year to run the show. We don't have to worry about ratings, but we do.